Deciphering Carian, the beginning of the inscription of Euromos C.Eu. The Carian inscription C.Eu, Euromos, was found by Louis Robert in 1934. The inscription was carved on a marble stone that served as the lintel of a spring house. An important detail which Robert did not clarify, and which remains unclear today, is whether the stone was reused or whether its function as a lintel was original. This is the current reading and edition. Some months ago, I tried to interpret the inscription. I arrived to a new reading of the beginning of the inscription, until now read as Omob Key. This new reading was the result of what in philology is known as divinatio, that is, the emendation of the text from a conjecture rather than from material evidence. My exercise of divinatio consisted in assuming that the reading Omob Key was incorrect because of two very banal mistakes in Greek epigraphy. Writing or reading error 1, O instead of dotted O. In Carian, O instead of Q. Writing or reading error 2, lambda instead of delta. In Carian, B instead of Carian double L, conventionally transcribed by lambda. The new reading is Como Key. This new reading can be compared to the recently identified Carian word for priest, Como. I checked this photo after the divinatio. The first letter seemed to be a Carian Q, but the quality of the image was not so good, and the transcription given by the editor was O. Thanks to Wolfgang Blumel, I got a better photo of his squeeze. A Carian Q is quite clear, a Carian lambda, possible. Note that already Guzmani, 1990, perceived a possible horizontal line and read the fourth letter as A. This is the new reading of C.Eu. Como Key clearly recalls Armen Key in EMI 8a. In this inscription, an Egyptian Carian bilingual, the Carian part, Parium Armen Key, means Parium who is the interpreter, Parium the interpreter. Similarly, Como Key Temali or Temalis probably means Temali, of Temali, to Temali, who is the priest. The most notable difference here being that the apposition introduced by the Carian relative pronoun Key, precedes the personal name. A first impression would lead us to interpret the inscription as a text referring to Temali the priest. If the stone was reused and the inscription had nothing to do with the spring house, a name in the nominative or the genitive would be compatible with a funerary inscription, for instance. A dative would make sense in a dedication. However, there is a much more attractive hypothesis. If we take the text until the first interpunction, Como Key Temalis Enduan, as a syntactic and semantic unit, it strongly recalls the dating formula which used an eponymous demiurge in the Kanos bilingual c. 5. Dating by means of the name of an eponymous priest is a very frequent procedure in Greek epigraphy, where the formula a pe Hyrios X, under the priest X, and other less frequent variants, is used in many inscriptions. Let us see a few examples from Caria. Kanos. Also Kanos. Panamara. Conclusions. The first word of CEU2 should be read Kumo, not Omob. Kumo is the Carian word for priest, also attested in plural as Kumalsh in Hylarima and in Mylasa. Kumo ki temali or timalis, is a construction comparable to Emi 8a, Parium Arman ki, Parium the interpreter, therefore, the priest temali. Carian Kumo is a derivative from the Luwic stem Kuma, pure, sacred, also attested in Luwian and in Lycian. The most attractive analysis of the beginning of CEU2, is to see in Kumo ki timalis nuan, a dating formula, based on a eponymous priest. The structure is very similar, although not identical, to the bilingual of Konos, where Inus, Endruel, matches Greek ape demiurgu Hipposthenes, under the demiurge Hipposthenes. The formula in CEU2, matches dating formulae in Greek, such as ape Hieros Menodoro, under the priest Menodoros.